people couldn't help but buy. Packaged poorly, overpriced, they couldn't help but sell out. They couldn't help but have to put it on pre-order. You just had to buy it. Why? Their business grew, continues to grow, and just took off. Like, it just did well. Everything just got traction for them. And it increased my conversion rate by 20%. Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 175, and it's a bit of a chatty episode. I actually want to chat to you about a few different attributes or traits I have seen with my clients since I started getting clients. Is that the word? I'm trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Since I started looking for clients to support with their Meta Ads and or Klaviyo email marketing projects as well, which I started this 18 months ago. Which was basically 18 months after I started this podcast. And in the last 18 months, I want to tell you some of the attributes that have most stood out to me as reasons for success in my clients growing their businesses. So these reasons for success aren't necessarily just about the services I offer them, but the reasons I have seen why their businesses have continued to succeed, or succeed at least in the time frame when I was associated with these clients and had something to do with their businesses. I could definitely do the opposite episode of why they haven't succeeded, because I know some clients have closed their businesses. Since I have worked with them, I know from that I was like the Hail Mary for a couple of my clients as well. It was like, let's just try working with Rachel for a month, and if this doesn't work, I'm just shutting the business down. So I don't feel responsibility for that, because obviously I came to the party for some of those clients very late in their business journey. But I do want to share some of the key things I have seen as reasons I believe some of my clients have succeeded in the last year and a half and or continue to succeed in growing their businesses. And I want to talk specifically about online business. I know I share often on most episodes just to be transparent, so you're aware that about half of my clients also have a bricks and mortar store. So they have a bricks and mortar store and an online business as well. But I'm going to keep this advice just to the online space, because that's where most of you are who are listening. I know most of you listening haven't cracked your 10K month, first 10K month yet. I know most of you listening are just online. I know most of you listening are side hustling as well. So I want to try and keep my advice to those sort of areas. And this is not my business advice. I'm not a business coach. This is just to encourage you that maybe some of these things are things you would like to do, but you're wondering if it's worth it. And I would encourage you, yes, because I've seen success for other clients. Or maybe some of the things I want to share with you are things you are already doing, and I want to encourage you to do it harder and keep doing it, because it probably will pay off for you even more, because it's paid off for other real life businesses that I've worked with in the last 18 months. The first one is being the authority in your niche. So showing up online regularly with educational, entertaining, thought-provoking, really connection content that positions your brand as an authority in whatever niche you happen to be in. So whatever niche you happen to be in. I feel like I fall a little bit into this space. I'm not an expert in my niche at all, but I do like to position my brand as a bit of an authority in the creative space. And some of the content I create is around that. And some of the content I repost online, like if I repost something on TikTok, is in that space as well. Some of my favorite some of my favorite creators who I follow online, they do position their brand as the authority in their specific niche. And one of my clients positions their brand as the authority in that niche, and has paid off for them massively. They have continued to grow. From when I knew them, they've continued to grow lots. I don't want to say exponentially. That's a bit crazy. They continue to grow month on month. And that is one thing that they lean into heavy is online content. They're always online. They show up online regularly. And when they do show up, they're very educational, but they position their brand as the go-to brand. Go to this brand for this advice. Go to this brand for this advice. You'll get all you need to know when you go to this brand to help you start in this niche. So that's the first thing I have seen. One of the other things that I have seen with my clients in 18 months as a key for success is new products regularly. In fact, two clients, one current client, one client from a year ago. Both of these clients do this very well, and it has been massively successful for them. That is new things often. Like I shared in last week's episode as well, how doing this was one of my own key levers for my massive growth in May 2026 and profitable growth, a really great ROAS in 2026 in May. My ROAS was 5. And this is one of the reasons why for myself as well. And I've seen it in 2 brands specifically as a reason for their continued growth in the last 18 months. And that is new products often and soft launching them. Small quantities, sample sizes, no custom logo even. It's just getting it out there, clearing out the stuff that might be sitting in the garage that you bought and then you weren't sure about. I have one of those boxes now. I've said that out loud. I have a box in my garage too. I bought some stock 6 months ago and I've never put it on the website because I don't love it. Just get it out there. I need to do that this month myself. Just get it out there. Get samples in, get small minimum order quantities of stuff in and soft launch things and see what your customers think of it. It really does come down to product market fit. You are testing the market with new products. You cannot bank. I think it's risky for one product to think you can get to $1 million business a month on one product. It's just that rarely happens. Like rarely happens unless you are already a famous person and you launch a perfume brand or something, in which case you're not listening to this episode and you're also not trying to feed your family every day. You're not side hustling and you're not going to work every day to pay for your side hustle, which most of you are doing. So I want to encourage you, this is very achievable, is launching new products often so that when people come to your website from an email or from ads, they always have something fresh and new to see. So that is definitely something I have seen as a key reason for success for 2 clients that I can definitely think of in my head in the last 18 months has been a key driver for their success. And for myself personally was one of the 3 reasons why I've had a really great May for my own e-commerce store. The next thing I want to share with you as a key reason for growth online and a growth for online business and success for one of my clients previously for their business was clear messaging. This might be a little bit like my first point about positioning your brand as the authority in the niche, but it's a bit more explicit than that. This is about coming to your website and knowing where you are within milliseconds, landing on a website and going, okay, I'm either in the right spot or I'm not in the right spot. Your messaging on your website, your product pages that spells out who you are for and who you are not for. Kath Langman, who I often share about on this podcast, I love her podcast. She does she's talked about this in many of her episodes about branding and messaging. And this is one key reason why I believe a couple of clients have succeeded in my own opinion of their businesses, is they have positioned their brand clearly. Their messaging is explicit and clear. It's not clever. There's nothing clever about their brand messaging. You land on their website and you know you're in the right place or you're not in the right place. You land on a product page, you see an image really soon before you don't scroll before you see an image. You see an image straight away and you see messaging straight away that tells you you're either in the right place or you're not in the right place. So customers can connect with these brands effortlessly. It's spelled out. There is no trying to decipher anything. It's a bit like when you run an offer. If you're going to run a sale, I often say don't do a complicated offer. You don't want customers to have to try and work out, okay, if I spend this amount, I get what? And then do I get the free gift or don't I get the free gift? But what about, she talked about this other mystery thing. Do I qualify for that? I'm a bit confused. I don't understand. How do I save the most money? And then it's too confusing. It's not clear. And then they bounce and they decide not to shop. You don't want your messaging on your website to be clever. You want it to be brand aligned, of course. You want it to be brand aligned. It needs to be about you as the brand, you as the founder, your brand voice. But it needs to be clear and explicit so that any brand new person who's never heard of you before, which is most of the people we want to be coming from Meta are people who've never heard of us before. That's how we find new customers. You want them to be landing on your website and you want them to know within milliseconds, at least within 2 seconds, if they've landed in the right spot and if you are for them or you're not for them. So I did a big change in my website messaging in March, and it increased my conversion rate by 20%. So my conversion rate in my own e-commerce store was up 20% in March 2026 on March 2025, I think, which I compare it to just a few weeks prior. Actually, no, I think it was increased when I made the changes. So I think like from the few weeks prior to making the change, a few weeks later, it went up 20%. And that was leaning more heavily into explicit messaging on the banner on my homepage, and then every product page as well has a small bit of hero text at the top that's very clear. You can read that and go, oh yeah, that's me. Or you read that and go, no, that's not really me. And then you either stay and you feel drawn in and like you want to be part of this community, or you read it and you're like, no, not really for me, and then you leave. Either of those is the outcome you want. You don't, that's exactly what you want. You don't want the in between. You don't want to just be like everybody else. You don't want to just appear like every other website out there, especially if you're in fashion. I want to say this because you guys in fashion, man, competition is fierce if you are in fashion. That you need some messaging, you need some brand positioning that really does make it clear who you are and who you aren't, because there are so many other brands similar to you. It's harder, I think, for you, or even more critical for you if you're in fashion, to stand out in a very particular way. It doesn't need to be a controversial way. I'm not even talking about a controversial way or anything. Just a specific, clear, concise way. So that's the third one. The fourth one I want to share is unparalleled product market fit. And I say unparalleled because when I think of the brands that I'm thinking of in my head, who I worked with some months ago, their product market fit was unparalleled. In other words, people couldn't help but buy. There's some things you can do with marketing. Hey, we all try our best to market our products as best we can, which is, I guess, a way of convincing people why they're so great and you should buy them. But some businesses, some brands just have that wow product. And you know them too because you can think of them in your own world and your own life. You just had to buy it. It didn't even matter if it was packaged poorly, overpriced, the website was terrible. How many websites do you shop on every day that are horrific, like as far as a user interface, are just no good at all and hard to navigate, but you still shop there, you still buy things because it's something you need, you desperately want, you can't live without. So this isn't a brand. When I think of this brand, their product was well researched, is it R&D, research and development. They had done some great I guess product market fit analysis and research on their not customers, but their ideal customer, their community and potential consumers, to do some research and some finessing, that their product, it just made sense. People wanted it. People just wanted it. So they couldn't help but sell out. They couldn't help but have to put it on pre-order and build a wait list of customers who were waiting to see it again because it had gone out of stock. They didn't need to fall all over themselves to make 100 videos about this product with 20 different UGC creators and run a heap of different ads to try and test it and try some different hooks, try some different angles. They didn't need to lean into marketing to try and convince people anything about this product because people just wanted it. They just knew they loved it, they understood it, and they wanted to have it. They paid money for it. So that would be the ideal case for all of us. Hey, kind of like the inventor of Post-it notes, it's just that was always going to go well. It's sort of that sort of thing. I think of this particular client, their product was exceptional and it solved a problem in the world, in their community, in their niche, and people wanted it. So they paid for it. It was a no-brainer in that sense. It wasn't a no-brainer because it was cheap. It was a no-brainer because it solved a problem in their world, in their customers' world. And the message was communicated clearly, sure, but even if it wasn't communicated clearly, I don't even know if that would have made a huge difference because it was obvious. It solved a problem, and anybody who had that problem just had to have it and spent money and paid for it, bought it online, done. Didn't even need convincing about it. So that's the fourth one. Like I said, you can't do all of these. One day maybe we all can. We can all work towards doing all four of these. But I hope having like four of these different kind of facets of success, success, quote unquote success. I'm talking about success revenue terms. Of course, there's success in your business in many other ways as well, which is very dependent on your goals in life and what you want for your family and your future. That's all just as valid as what I'm sharing today. But I really wanted to share with you today some things that are revenue drivers of what I have seen stand out to me in my memory from working with these particular clients that really stood them above the rest as far as why their business grew, continues to grow, and just took off. Like, it just did well. Everything just got traction for them. The initiatives they did got traction for them. And I believe these 4 areas were areas for these businesses that were unique to them above my other clients. Like, it stood out to me that they were exceptional in these areas. And then the 5th one is leaning into executing on projects. And I've shared this in episodes before about what promotions are you going to be running every month in your e-commerce store? What promos, what initiatives, what's the reason you're going to give your customers to get to your website? This one is really about ads and email marketing, together or separate really. But when I think of the businesses that have grown in the time I worked with them and since or before, like, they're just successful businesses in their own right. This is not about the work I did for them, but these businesses did well in their own right. And this other business I'm thinking of absolutely stood out for me from the others because they were fast to implement changes in their ads and in their email marketing, like their promotions, like their promotional calendar. They just knew that getting in front of their customers often, but giving their customers a reason to come to the website, giving their customers a reason to come and see their socials, giving our customers a reason to email, to comment, to share, to reach out and connect with was a huge driver for them in their growth. I guess they really brought their customers along on the journey in growing their business, is kind of maybe part of the story of why they succeeded. But I saw their ads do amazingly well and their email marketing did amazingly well because they were in there often doing new things. Their ads never grew stale. They were rolling out new campaigns and new creative all the time. Their email never started to dip or go stale because they always had something to talk to their customers about. They always had a reason to draw their customers in. They always had something fun and fresh to share with their customers through email and through their ads. So this particular client I'm thinking of grew because they were able to lean into and kind of make that the hero of their brand, and their business overall was, come with me, customers, on this journey of growing this business. And they shared that in their ads and they shared that in their email. So whatever they did, it just seemed to hit and it just got traction with their customers and their potential customers. Maybe because they were very relatable as well. I'm not really sure. It would make sense that they were. I'm not familiar with their niche, so it's hard to know. And I guess a little bit like point 1, but being the brand authority or the authority in your brand, the authority of your niche. But this point is more than that. It's really about pivoting and changing fast. It's about being in your ad account often and freshening it up. Being in your Klaviyo account often and freshening it up. It's about being on your wall calendar and deciding, what am I going to do in March, April, May, June, July, August? What reason do I need to give my customers to come back to my website again just to see what's happening? What reason can I give my customers to do this? What reason can I give them to do this? And just being quick to implement projects and roll out new things all the time. Not necessarily new projects, new products, which was my other point. But this is much more about not letting things slow or go stale, but kind of going with the momentum and just kind of driving it harder and harder and harder. That might be a personality trait too. Maybe you might not be able to engineer that. I don't know. Maybe that's the way you're built as a business owner or not. I'm not really sure. But for this client, it worked really well. And that's the 5th thing. So there are 5 things. I hope one of them stands out to you that you could try or implement, or maybe something you already do, like go harder with it. It's just a bit of an episode about a bit of the behind the scenes of success in growing revenue online and what I have seen in 18 months with my clients. Thanks for hanging out with me today at Aussie Online Growing on Shopify.com.au. As always, keep learning.